We live. And as always, I got to check everything because y'all know how this show works. Till I get the new setup, it's there. Till I get the new setup set up, we're gonna have to keep doing it that way, and I'll either keep editing it or I won't because whatever. And I just realized that I'm wearing a tank top on the show again. This is my. I was at home working, relaxing clothes, and so I know this isn't very professional, but it is what it is. All right, so today's going to probably be a little bit shorter show than normally. Had a lot of stuff going on this week, so I hadn't got to deal with a lot of it. So I'm just going to kind of give you a rundown of stuff that I thought that was kind of exciting and or breaking news or that kind of thing in the movie TV world. The first everybody already knows about, I'm sure, was the big Sony Disney split. Negotiations have fallen apart of whatever they were going to do with the thing, and I've heard different stories. I haven't dived into a lot of it because really the only thing you need to know is that if the split aren't able to come to terms, Spider-Man is no longer in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and Spider-Man will go do his own thing. And I know people already like, well, see how Sony did with that. Well, yeah, they had 5 Spider-Man movies where 2 of them were highly successful and 2 of them were everybody loved at the time, and a third one not so much. I really like Amazing Spider-Man 1. 2, I like elements of it, but I think it still worked. They had a successful film with Venom. This is a perfect chance for them to put Spider-Man in there with Venom doing their own thing. Do I want Tom Holland's Spider-Man to be in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Of course, because he's already established. It's going to be, I think a lot of people misunderstand saying, well, we can't finish the storyline they did. Yeah, they can. They just have to do it in a different way because it was already being distributed by Sony anyway, just with the help of Marvel and Kevin Feige making it. With behind the story elements or whatever. So it's not like they can't keep doing it. They just can't keep bringing in all the familiar faces. And at some point, the character has to stand on its own. And I think this goes for all the Marvel movies. I think they rely a lot. Like early on, it was like Captain America was Captain America, Thor was Thor, Iron Man was Iron Man. And then everything became one universe, and it became every movie had to have an appearance by a different person. And that's not necessary. If you read the comics, a lot of the comics, it's just Spider-Man in his world, or it's just Captain America and his villains that he's fighting. So it can happen and work and still be able to be the same thing it is. And if they work it out down the line, they can bring them back together. If they don't, it'll suck. Don't get me wrong. I prefer them to do it. But if they work it out, it'll be awesome. If they don't work it out, it is what it is, right? So moving on, we'll see what happens with that. Right now, I'm sure there's still negotiations happening. I'm sure they're still discussing it. I'm sure people are putting numbers together, and we'll see if it's completely dead or not. The other big news that actually, if I remember correctly, broke before that news, and this news ended up the Spider-Man news, I think, overshadowed it, was they announced that they were finally moving forward with Matrix 4, and people have been like, oh, it's about time, but originally the trilogy was finished. Then they started having the rumblings of making a reboot or a remake kind of thing. Originally, it wasn't supposed to be a follow-up from the stuff I read. But they apparently got Lana Wachowski is going to come back and be behind the camera and they're already helping develop the script. And they got Carrie-Anne Moss and Keanu Reeves back, which does not surprise me. Not because Keanu needs to work, but I read one article that they very much want to be back in the Keanu Reeves business because between John Wick and Toy Story 2 and now he's shooting Bill and Ted 3, the world loves Keanu Reeves, not only his films, but also there's been tons of stories coming out about just how great a guy he is. And so they clearly want to be back in that business. But it is cool to see how what direction they take it with that story and everything. They're also made a big Star Wars announcement with, I don't know if it's a big announcement, but D23 is coming up, which is the big Disney Expo kind of thing. So a lot of the big Disney-related things get dropped. And they did announce they were dropping the Mandalorian trailer at D23. I got to see the Mandalorian or a Mandalorian trailer at Celebration Chicago. It looks amazing. It looks stunning. It looks like it's going to be everything that everybody wants us to be. I don't know if it's going to be the same trailer. I assume it is, but it'd be interesting to see if it's new because it's been killing me trying to explain it and not be able to show it to anybody because we weren't able to record it. We had to shut off stuff. We couldn't see, we could see it. So it's embedded in my brain, but I haven't been able to really, I can explain it, but then people just aren't getting the scope of it without seeing it. So it's one of those things. They also dropped a new Rambo Last Blood trailer this week, which was awesome. Stallone had said earlier this week or last week, the end of the week, and he posted this really cool image. If you've seen the Rambo Last Blood poster, the newer one, it's like black and white. It's a really cool poster of just Stallone, and he posted this cool shot of in the same vibe of color scheme from the original Rambo First Blood, and then with the new one, it had like the date of First Blood and then had the date of Last Blood. It was a really cool little thing. If you go to his Instagram and look at it, it was posted up there. But I am super stoked for Rambo Last Blood, especially after the second trailer. It shows how much more is there and how much more violence. It looks like it's gonna be extremely violent. The last Rambo was like probably one of the more hyper violent movies in that franchise. This one looks like it's going to even step it up even more, which makes me excited. Moving on, I was excited to find out. I didn't even know this was happening, and I may be the only person that cares. But there's a movie called Sudden Death, which is a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie where he's like a firefighter or a security guard or something, and terrorist Powers Booth, I believe, is the terrorist, or criminals try to take over or blow up a hockey stadium during a game. So Van Damme's running around kicking people's ass and doing his thing. It's one of those Van Damme movies I just always really dug. Well, apparently they're making another one, but I don't know. I have yet to find out if it's a sequel or if it's a remake. It's sounding more like it's a remake. It doesn't hit till 2020. It's going to be a Netflix movie, but it's got Michael Jai White instead of Jean-Claude Van Damme, which bums me out because I would always love to. Well, hello, sir. I'd always love to have Jean-Claude Van Damme back, but I love Michael Jai White too. So, and it sounds like there's a comedian in it too, which I apologize, I don't remember his name. But I think it's going to be more of a buddy action comedy movie kind of thing. So I think it's going to be like the old movie, but a little more laughs, where the other one's way more serious. So we'll see. But we have to wait till next year on Netflix. But I'm super stoked for it because, one, I love Sudden Death, but also even if Michael Jai White, I love all Michael Jai White stuff too. So getting to see him kick some ass is a good thing for me. Speaking of Netflix, they just announced that The Ranch will be kicking off its fourth and final season, and the first half is going to be hitting on September 13th, I believe it is. I'm bummed to see that show go, but with all the drama and with having the one guy with the one character having to leave, do all of it. Dax is great in the show. Dax Shepard, who joined the cast, he's great in the show, but it's still missing something, and losing Rooster was just one of those things. It was just like, it sucked, but I get it, but I didn't like it. Maybe there's a way they can bring him back for like the final episodes and stuff, and just, I don't know. They claimed he was dead, but I don't think they ever found a body. So who knows? Maybe they can, if they can get everything cleared, maybe they can bring him back and just say, hey, I was already here this whole time, because he supposedly fled, for what the viewers know, but we'll see. What else do we got? Also, it was, we announced sometime, or we didn't announce, but they announced sometime back, I think during Comic-Con, they announced they were doing 2 more Halloween films with David Gordon Green and Danny McBride and Blumhouse, following up to their Halloween sequel that they did a couple years back, which was a direct sequel to the original Halloween film, brought back Jamie Lee Curtis. They're making Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends. But John Carpenter has officially announced that he will return to score both of those 2 movies as well. So it's always good to know that John Carpenter is going to be involved in the Halloween movie, because it's his baby, so he should be. They also announced the official title to the next James Bond movie, which does have Daniel Craig coming back again. It's No Time to Die, which sounds very James Bond to me. They released like a little trailer kind of thing for it that just shows Daniel Craig walking up as James Bond and then stopping, and you see the title things coming out, and so it's not really anything from the movie, but you get to see the actual, just a trailer. I mean, the title treatment, so you see how it's, what font they used and that kind of thing. So it's kind of interesting. Also, this isn't really movie news so much, but I want to shoot out some props to it, just to promote it. And I don't have all the ins and outs of it yet, so I'll make sure to have them next time. I kind of popped up right before I walked out. uh, Matthias Hughes, which I believe is how you say it properly. He's a big action star from the 90s, early 2000s. He was always like in all the karate movies I love. And most people probably know him. Probably the biggest role that he was kind of more widespread was I Come in Peace with Dolph Lundgren. I think it was also known as Dark Angel. He played the alien in it, where he basically says, "I come in peace." He's like, "You go in pieces." It's it was one of those great movies. But he did a ton of straight to video action films and karate films, martial arts stuff that I loved, loved, loved. He was one of my favorite bad guys of all time. He has a book coming out called Shirtless in Hollywood, and I think it's the beginning of September when you get a hard copy. But there's also like the Kindle type, which I think some of them might be available now, or it's fixing to be available. So if you go check Amazon or whatever, but it's called Shirtless in Hollywood by Matthias Hughes. And I apologize if I said your first name wrong, but no, I'm a big fan. So I just want everybody to know that's out there, because it's one of those that I think everybody should check out, because I guarantee I'm going to read it, and we'll probably post a review here. But I guarantee it's one of those really interesting stories of Hollywood, because he's like Al Leong, who just had a documentary about him come out called The Henchman, the Al Leong story. Al Leong is, you may not know his name, but he is the guy that you saw in every movie in the 80s and 90s, where they had the Asian guy with long hair and the kind of big forehead, big mustache. He was always a henchman beating somebody up. He's the guy that was electrocuting Mel Gibson in Lethal Weapon. He showed up in everything. It's a great little documentary about his life and his career. And Matthias Hughes is another one of those guys that you probably saw him, didn't know his name, but you knew him from every action movie. And like, oh, I love this guy. It was to me. I knew his name because I made a point to learn these guys' names, because I wanted to see if they were in the movies I was watching. But that was just me. Also, they debuted some stills, which are on our website. They're making they're either made or they're making a Between Two Ferns movie with Zach Galifianakis. If you don't know what Between Two Ferns is, first of all, you're missing out. I believe it's on Netflix, but it's also on YouTube. It was a Funny or Die thing where Zach Galifianakis interviewed celebrities in Between Two Ferns, and they're some of the funniest things I've ever seen. If you go watch them, but they're doing a movie about it. With Zach Galifianakis. It looks hilarious. They also released a trailer for the movie called The Report with Adam Driver and Annette Bening that I believe has to do with like some of the 9/11 stuff. We just finished a miniseries, The Loudest Voice, with Russell Crowe, which was all about Roger Ailes and Fox News and its rise and fall and whatever. Well, apparently there's a movie from Jay Roach called Bombshell coming out, which is the same subject matter, which Nicole Kidman, Charlize Theron, Margot Robbie, and then I believe it's John Lithgow playing Roger Ailes this time. So it's interesting. We're getting a whole, every year we get, we were just talking about this to somebody else, but you always get like competing projects about the same subject matter. So like one year there was like Deep Blue Sea and Deep Star 6 or whatever it was. Deep Blue Sea was the shark one. Never mind. I don't remember what it is, but every year is like right now with Angel Has Fallen fix come out. When that came out, there was Olympus Has Fallen and White House Down. They were both attacks on the White House, the president and Secret Service person trying to save him or some sort. So it's always interesting. They always have similar movies that come out. So in this case, it was a miniseries and a new movie coming out. Let's see what else we have on our site that I hadn't talked about yet. We released a trailer for the movie Underwater, starring Kristen Stewart and T.J. Miller, that actually looked kind of interesting. They also popped out the IMAX poster and trailer for Ad Astra, which is Brad Pitt's new science fiction film that actually looks pretty good. So it's interesting to see when they deal with all the space stuff, how much works, how much doesn't. And then a lot of Blu-ray announcements. Anna, the Luc Besson action movie, just got announced. Annabelle Comes Home was just announced. Trying to figure out if there's anything else specific. I have notes too. You'd think I'd pay attention to my notes. I don't know. I think that might be it that I know off the top of my head. There was something else. Oh, Toy Story 4 was just announced on Blu-ray and DVD and 4K and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of stuff happening. There's tons more news and movie information and stuff out there. This is just the things that kind of piqued my interest that I decided to bring up today because of things I thought you might care about. If you don't care about them, then I apologize. That's all I can do for you. But that's going to be it for today. Keeping it short. I got other things to do. Sorry again, we don't have time to talk about Gymkata, but we will eventually. But make sure you go check our website out at HollywoodMatrimony.com. A lot of this information is on there, and a lot of it's not. So go find what you find. You can also find us on the Instagram at Hollywood Matrimony, at Facebook, the Hollywood Matrimony, and Twitter at the Hollywood Matter, MATR. Make sure you come back here Sunday, where we'll do another episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live, both here on this YouTube channel as well as on Facebook page. This week we're going to be talking about the movie Ready or Not. What was the other one? Oh, Angel Has Fallen, and hopefully a few others. Then on Mondays, be back here for Martial Arts Movie Monday, where I take a deep dive into a martial arts movie from my collection behind me. And Tuesdays, TV Tuesdays, where me and the missus talk to you about latest TV shows, old and new, that we like or that we're watching that we want to talk about. And then right back here for another weekly update. And at some point between now and the Hollywood Matrimony Live, there'll be an all-new episode of What's on My Desk /rant, where it used to just be about stuff on my desk, but now it's turned into a rant above the week. So some of the rants will have to do with the public. Some of you will care about the rant. Some of you probably won't even know what I'm talking about. And sometimes I do them so late at night, I'm just rambling like I'm doing right now. So make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel. We appreciate your support. But if you want to have more giveaways, things like that, we're currently giving away a copy of The Hustle, SpongeBob, the best 200 episodes ever. I believe the movie Ma with Octavia Spencer, and I think there's a couple others fixing to hit. So the more subscribers we get, the more followers we get, the more stuff we have to give back to you. So please hit that subscribe button. Tell your friends. Watch our shows. If you want to hear about something specific, or if you don't like our show, tell me that. I'll fix what I can for you. I'm only one man, but that's all I can do. But make sure you hit that subscribe button here. If you show up later on, hit the subscribe button up here, and you can look over here. You can watch some TV, movies, trailers, or other show stuff, or whatever's happening in our world. But once again, we appreciate you. Thank you for our weekly update this week. Hope you got some information out of it. If you didn't, I don't know what to tell you. Peace out.